Hey there, it's Dr. Justin. Today's talk is going to be on elimination diets. I got lots of patients that are on autoimmune diets or specific diets where they're cutting out certain foods. We'll talk about what those foods are. And now it's coming to a point 1 month in, 2 weeks in, 2 months in, where they're starting to add in some new foods. And I'm going to just kind of give you some insights on how I do this personally with my patients. Having done this thousands of times, there's lots of different things that you can look for. As an individual, it's tough because you only have your experience. I'm going to try to give you thousands of people's experience kind of all condensed into one video here. So I hope you enjoy. So again, what foods should I be eliminating? Well, let's talk about an elimination diet to begin with. There are many different kinds of an elimination diet. So for instance, just going paleo or on a paleo template or diet, I like the word template as you guys all know, that's kind of an elimination diet for most people. Because what's a paleo diet? Well, it's cutting out grains, typically. It's cutting out legumes. It's cutting out dairy for some people. Some people may leave butter in there, maybe cutting out things like peanuts. It may even involve cutting out higher carbohydrate foods like higher carbohydrate fruits and excess sugar, definitely cutting out alcohol. So there's a lot of foods that are cut out. For the most part, it's a real food diet. So anything that's not real, I mean, all the packaged processed goodies are gonna be gone. So that's in itself is an elimination diet. Now we go one step deeper when we talk about an autoimmune diet. We can even talk about things like a specific carbohydrate diet or GAPS diet. It's kind of nuanced in that same thread. So with an autoimmune diet, we're going a little bit deeper. We're cutting out eggs. We're cutting out nightshade vegetables, which are tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants, peppers, TPEP for short. We're cutting out nuts, we're cutting out seeds. So there's some different things that we're cutting out there that above and beyond maybe someone on a paleo diet may be able to have those without a problem. So what food should I be eliminating? Well, with most patients, we're gonna start kind of on an autoimmune paleo template. That's gonna be really emphasizing good clean meats, healthy organic sources. We're going to be emphasizing good clean fats. We're going to be emphasizing carbohydrates primarily from non-starchy vegetables. We may add some safe starches in the forms of squash, plantains, sweet potatoes, jicama, yucca. Those are some good safe starches off the bat that we could add in. Sweet potato if I didn't say that. And then some low sugar fruit. Now again, some people say, well, the fruits can't have seeds in it. It really depends. Typically with most of my patients, low glycemic, low sugar fruit like green apple, berries, lemon, lime, raspberries, strawberries, grapefruit tend to be okay for most people. Again, if we have to, we can always peel them, we can always smash them, kind of like an SED approach where you're cutting out maybe the higher phenol foods or the higher salicylate foods. We may even peel some of these things and mash it up, put it in a Vitamix, put it in a magic bullet to make it more palatable and increase the surface area so digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid can attack it. So what food should I be eliminating? So if you're my patient right now, we're seeing some autoimmune tendencies, we're seeing some inflammation, we're gonna get you on that autoimmune template. Like I said, we're cutting out the nuts, seeds, nightshades, eggs. We're cutting all those foods out. Now we're waiting a period of time, maybe 3 or 4 weeks. I like to see some kind of improvement first. Typically, it could be an improvement in bloating, it could be an improvement in gas or digestive symptoms, maybe going more frequently, or maybe the stools are starting to solidify, maybe better fatigue, maybe less brain fog. It could be any one of those issues, better hormones, thyroid, better energy, weight loss, wherever those magic symptoms are that we're seeing to start to improve, that's a great sign. Now from there, we're gonna talk about how we're gonna reintroduce foods. That's the next step. So we already compared and contrasted an autoimmune to a paleo. It's really the things I just mentioned. Now after that, a lot of people that are going autoimmune, they tend to have a lot of digestive issues. So if you have digestive issues and you are transitioning to an autoimmune diet for yourself, things like HCl, enzymes, and bile support may be very helpful for you because, let's face it, food allergies start with the inability to break down foods. So we're gonna start to develop immune responses. If we're not able to break these foods down and they stay larger, right? So if we have protein not broken down into amino acids or fats not broken down into their fatty acid constituents, imagine this. We have basically our gastrointestinal wall here. We have the bloodstream on one side here. This is the blood. This is the intestinal wall over here, okay? Intestinal wall in brown. And if we have the various food molecules here that are too big, and these larger food molecules start floating into the bloodstream like so, we're gonna start to have immune responses because the body is not used to seeing food particles in F, in the bloodstream that's this big. It's used to seeing food particles that are really small. So these are our little food particles when they're broken down correctly, right? This is how they should look in the intestinal tract or in the bloodstream. So this is the intestinal tract over here. This is the bloodstream over here. So you can see here, when bigger particles are in the bloodstream like this, the immune system starts to hyper-respond. So if this is our immune system right over here, it starts seeing big particles like this. It starts attacking these big particles. And then when you have tissues like the thyroid gland or the brain, it can start to attack these tissues because they look a little bit similar. There's some amino acid sequences that are on the thyroid and the brain. So when they're smaller though, if you look at these smaller particles, the immune system doesn't recognize them as being a threat. So over here you can see the immune system, it doesn't really see anything. It's not really a problem here. So you can see we want to make sure the food particles are broken down so they aren't large like this, they're small, so the immune system isn't attacking these large particles and then going after the actual body tissues. So I hope that makes sense. I'm kind of standing off to the side so you guys can see everything a little better. If you need to back up or hear it again, because I do go a little fast, just hit the pause button and rewind it. So off the bat, that's one of the big things that we're seeing here. And one of the things I want to make sure we work on is that we are digesting these foods fully, meaning if we're eating even healthy foods, I want to make sure we're breaking them down and digesting them to their smallest constituents so we're not creating immune responses over here and we're able to better absorb the nutrients from those foods. So reintroduction phase, what does that look like? Well, typically a 3 to 4 day period, right? So we start off with maybe just a little bit of food, maybe one bite of tomatoes or one bite of salsa. And then maybe we have a whole tomato on day 2 or day 3. So we're starting off with a very small bit of serving, maybe one scoop, 1 teaspoon, and we're increasing the serving size over that 3 to 4 day period, seeing if we can tolerate it. Again, one bite, start small, and then work your way up. Because if you have a response to that food, well, guess what? It's gonna be size dependent. Smaller the food, guess what? Less response. More food, greater response. So if you're prone to having joint pain or brain fog or energy dips, well, a smaller reintroduction gives you less intense symptoms. So look for those negative symptoms. What could those symptoms be? It could be joint pain. It could be fatigue. It could be brain fog. It could be female hormone issues. It could be weight gain. It could be any issue that's part of your chief complaints. So kind of draw out your top 5 to 10 chief complaints with Dr. J, go back and then look how much of those have intensified over the reintroduction period. If we see a little reintroduction over that 3 to 4 days, and if we reintroduce that food over that 3 to 4 day period, we start seeing negative symptoms, guess what? We write that food down, let me know at your next consult, pull it out, and we'll try it again down the road. It may be something it's too soon to add it back in. It may just be we need more gut healing going on before you're ready to add it in. So we just gotta figure out what that looks like. So 3 to 4 day period, small bites to a bigger serving, look for negative symptoms. What order do we add foods back in? Great question here. Eggs first. Keep the yolks runny. Why is this? It's because the egg yolks tend to rancidify and denature when they're cooked too much. So X&A on the scrambled eggs. Keep it to poached eggs. So if you poke it, the yolks run. Keep it to a sunny side up or over easy so when you poke it, the yolks run. That's gonna be your litmus test. Keep the yolks runny. Down the road, if you get healthier, you can do your omelet and such, but I try to keep my egg yolks runny just for that reason. I want my body to not hyper respond to the potential denatured protein in the yolks. Next, nuts and seeds. Try to keep them to soaked nuts, right? The soaked nuts will be better because you'll be deactivating some of the phytates and lectins. Some of the anti-nutrients that are in those foods will be deactivated by soaking them. Next, dairy. What kinds of dairy? Well, ghee is going to be your best, right? Ghee is clarified butter, so it's the whey protein's pulled out, ideally the casein's out and the lactose is out, so you just have the butter fat in the ghee, which makes it a little bit more hypoallergenic. A lot of people on an autoimmune diet may not be able to handle any dairy but ghee. So make ghee the first one you add back in, then go with your grass-fed Kerrygold butter second, and then you can go to like a raw cheese or a raw milk third and fourth. Why cheese before milk? Because cheese is fermented in a way, cultured in a way where the lactose is typically less. So cheese first, lactose, or then milk, I should say fourth. And actually we could even add in here, I misspoke. We could add in raw yogurt, because raw yogurt's going to have it cultured with no lactose at all. The lactose will be very much less, and there'll be more probiotics. So I would say ghee, butter, raw yogurt, cheese, then milk. That's the order we want to reintroduce dairy. And then next are nightshades. What's the problem with nightshades? They fall into a family that has a high amount of these compounds known as alpha-solanes and glycoalkaloids. These can be irritating compounds. They can get into the joint tissue and create inflammation in the joints. People that have arthritis or joint pain, they can be a problem. I see them an issue in a lot of my patients that may not think they're an issue. Skin issues is another big symptom, by the way, in the negative symptom category. While in the nightshades, I see nightshades creating skin issues too. So just kind of keep that in mind. If your skin breaks out, fatigue, brain fog, weight gain, joint pain, hormone issues, you're just not quite feeling right, any intensification of symptoms, keep an eye on the nightshades too. So egg yolk soft, nut seeds, dairy, right? Ghee, butter, raw yogurt, raw cheese, raw milk. Keep it raw because the enzymes are intact and the protein's not denatured. Nightshades would be next. And again, follow this reintroduction period and you should be good to go. Many people that need an elimination diet, they tend to have an autoimmune issue or some kind of gut issue to begin with. So if you have a deeper issue where there's maybe adrenal dysfunction or a gut infection like a leaky gut from a parasite, fungal overgrowth, SIBO, or dysbiotic infection, click on screen, reach out if you need help getting more to the root issue and kind of prioritizing and sequencing a good treatment of care to help you get back on your feet again. But off the bat, my goal is for you to have a good understanding and a good idea of how to pull foods out, add foods back in accordingly, and not add foods back in too soon. And make sure you're digesting the good foods you're adding back in. Again, please feel free and subscribe to this page. Check out the podcast as well below at beyondwellnessradio.com. And we just look forward to giving you more great information every week. Thanks for subscribing. Have a good one.